if the comic is happy, the staff will be happy. And if the staff is happy, if you're not happy as a customer, you're not going to be happy nowhere.
Trickle down economics is not a real thing, but trickle down like that is, yes, you're absolutely right, because at the end of the day, it does make for a better experience for the audience
Yeah.
if you value the art first.
Right, and you're kicking people out who are hecklers, and you're setting the ground rules because this is what I appreciate. And if you don't come in, like I heard the dude in uh, Indiana, fuck is it? Anyway, he's really mean. I'll remember it later. But dude is like brutally mean to people who are heckling or talking.
Is he
And to
work at?
me,
Is he a staff member?
manager. And
Okay.
like if you're like, hey, what if he'll be like, shut the fuck up or get the fuck, like very, very mean. And to me, I love that because you're like, yeah, this isn't.
Oh,
It's
when they
not,
don't fuck around, like the Comedy Cellar, they do not fuck around. So they started doing the sleeves for the phones because there's so many people coming in and out, like big people that know. But if somebody goes to take their phone out or the sleeve's not buttoned, they're like, now you can't see the show. We don't need you. We do not need you. We're fine. And I'm like that, but that makes the comedy feel more important. And that makes the audience pay more attention and it makes the stakes higher.
right. I love that because I don't think that you do need that person. I
No,
think
you really don't.
I think you're better off setting a message that we do not fuck around here. So if you come here, don't try any nonsense. And the people who come become conditioned to not fuck around. And they
Yeah, I
become,
think stand-up comedy is one of the few art forms where it requires a specific behavior from the audience. Shut
Mhm.
the fuck up, don't be on your phone. That's pretty much it. Shut the fuck up, don't be on your phone. Just laugh. Just laugh, assholes.
I don't want to be a bully about it, but I've watched enough comedy shows where I can tell if someone's on their phone, they're not enjoying it as much as if they weren't. Because we've had shows here where people are like, oh, you can bring your phone out, I don't care, right? And then you're like, all right, you just fucked your whole show up. Because now no one's gonna laugh and enjoy it the way they could or should.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because I know when Corinne and I did Comedy Works, I think it was the second time we ever did it, and then Chappelle was asked for our Thursday night, and we're like, yes, whatever you want, Chappelle, yes, 100%. And he asked us to open for him. We're like, I mean, fucking, we're the king of the world. Um, and they asked when we had the Friday and Saturday shows, do you want the sleeves for the phones? And we're like, and we went to say yes. And because when we opened for Chappelle, that was my first experience ever with an audience with the sleeves, with their phones away.
Isn't it
It You
wonderful?
could have heard a pin drop. Every facial expression was taken in by the audience. Like you could get a laugh with a look, which was really special. But with our show, that especially that touring show that I know you've seen is the phone. We need the audience to have their phone because we do like a prank call, so we
Right.
need the number. So we're like and so what we did was if we noticed people on their phones, which um it was so easy to catch because we had just done Dave's show with no phones. So we just kind of made fun of them. We're like, we're not on the internet. You're in person. Be in the moment, bitch. Be
Yeah.
here. What's so important?
It's
We yell at them.
crazy how much those bags change. So we've had them here for one show, and I don't know if I've ever been happier. I think like people's anxiety of worrying about their phones like it was just so different. It was a huge difference in the way the audience reacted.
Yeah, I've seen as an audience member, I've seen Dave at Radio City, and I saw him rehearse his SNL monologue at the stand, and it's such a relief to be without your phone. Like sometimes when I'm out, it's rare my phone ever dies, but when it does, I'm like, that's kind of nice.
Kind of freeing.
I can look around at things and figure it out. I'm like on the Oregon Trail. Like I need my map.
Right, out and about as opposed to is my phone gonna go off?
Yeah.
So what are some things that I guess the opposite of that? What are some things that when you're at a comedy club, it's Thursday, you walk in and you go, fuck, this weekend's gonna suck.
When you walk in and no one looks at you, like all the staff's just like up their heads up their own butts because they're worried about whatever they're doing, which is their job. But I think getting greeted by the staff and that kind of, I don't want to say important. I don't even want to say star treatment either, because the second a comic gets egotistical, your art goes out the window. So, but I'm always very conscious of that.
Well, I don't even
Um,
think you have to say star. Like I can only talk about here. I've been to other comedy clubs. I haven't worked at other comedy clubs. Everyone who comes in here who works here, they're like, "Yo, what's up, Jerry? How you doing today? Hey, Sean." Like anyone who's working there feels welcome. And I think that goes out to the comic as well. So it's not necessarily star treatment. It's just, we
It's
like
just friendliness. It's a good vibe. And that's why I think it's one of the most important things, because the one of the main things that would let me know the show might suck is if the staff, no one's anywhere, we don't know where anybody is, and we don't know where the green room is, and we just kind of show up, and they're just worried about, the chicken nuggets or chicken tenders or something. That's a little like, oh, okay, I guess I'll see you later. And then a sound guy, if the sound guy is like I don't know, we've had like nervous sound guys. Nervous, I don't know how or about what, but
yeah, I remember when you came here and you had the audio visual stuff, and you're like, hey, they fucked it up almost everywhere else we go.
yeah, and that made me realize, oh, number one, when comics go on the road and tour clubs, they just come with themselves and do an hour or 45 minutes. That's it. We made it fun for us, but it also, as a byproduct of that, much more complicated, because we did not realize that most comics don't do this for their show. Like, they don't have an opening video, and they don't need a third mic for the audience, and they don't, so and then we realized, okay, this is very complicated, because Corinne and I are both, a little perfectionist-y. And so we're like, well, why would you mess it up? I gave you the cues a week ago. So we just had to realize, like, it's okay. We've had our name. That's the other thing. And my name is spelled very untraditional. So we've had our names spelled wrong on the marquees, and that never pissed me off, because people have always spelled my name wrong since the beginning of time. But Corinne, people started spelling her name wrong and my name right, because my name was so fucked up. They're like, well, if I get this name right, then the other one's easy. So I'll just, whatever. And so on a marquee or on the big printed flyer, it'll say Corinne's name, but it was with 2 R's or 1 N. And she'd be like, come on, guys, that's just like the lowest amount of respect is spell my name right. Because you just got to look.
Well, I think all the great clubs focus on details, right? I think they take their time to really focus on small things that maybe might not be noticed by everybody, but leads to the bigger picture and to the bigger process of working out.
That, I think, is any creative's ticket to having a successful anything, is attention to detail. And that's why the only artist on this planet that I would say not obsessed with, but really look up to, like, and think about every day, is Beyonce, because her attention to detail is insane. Like, I all my workout gear is Ivy Park. I got a Beyonce tattoo. Like, I buy all of her
Beyonce
merch.
tattoo?
Yeah, it says it's on my finger. It says WWBD, and it's in the handwriting of of Nadine Strawson, who was the first female president of the American Civil Liberties Union. A lot of layers to this tattoo. But yeah, what would Beyonce do? Just because her attention to detail is it's delightful, and it's always a delightful surprise when you get there and there's a drink, a custom cocktail named after you and your comedy partner. Like, that's so cool. There's like posters for you to sign. I love when green rooms have the wall for you to sign, and I love looking at what other comics wrote. That's just nice. It's cool. It makes us feel all, linked together.
Very homely. And I think I've talked about this a lot. It's a small community that you're a part of. Like, there hasn't been over 300 headliners here in all the time we've been open.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, that's true.
So
it's special.
I think it's important to make sure that you treat people who come here like they are special, because they are.
Yeah. And they'll want to come back.
Well, yeah, the worst thing is off the bat, and this only happened with me maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe 1, where I've just fucked up the weekend, where it's like me and you don't get along.
Oh, well, that's not you fucking it up. That's just the vibe's not there.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe
the first time I did Portland, I had the flu.
You were very sick. I had to take
you took me to CVS.
Yeah. But
that was right. That because of the first time we ever toured, I got the flu. It was so bad. And I don't know why. I mean, we were already on the road. We had like 10 more shows in 10 different cities. I'm like, I'm just gonna have to suck this up. God, knowing now about the coronavirus, I'm like, I can't believe I just did the show.
You put me at risk.
Sorry, man. I'm so sorry. We're both here.
But like, let's say that's the only time you'd ever done Helium. That for some reason you came in and I was like, this motherfucker making me take it. Like, for some reason it just didn't click. Then forever you're like, you know what, fuck Portland Helium. And then if someone asks you, hey, how was it? You're like, club really wasn't that great. So I think
it can taint the entire touring experience of that city.
right. Like Bobby Lee shit his pants here once. And then I was not thrilled to go get him new underwear and Imodium AD.
Did he do
And
that on purpose? He shit his pants a bunch.
yeah, he was doing like a lap dance and he shitted his pants and his underwear. And then he's like, oh, I shit my pants and ran off stage. And I was like, what a funny bit, Bobby. And he's like, no, this ain't a bit. I need you to go get me underwear. So I had to go to Rite Aid and buy underwear and Imodium AD and breathe. I was so embarrassed. But I was like, we'll never get over this. And then the last
had to go buy Imodium and underwear at a drugstore. That like sucks. I'd rather you buy tampons and Midol and shit.
I was on my phone, like, you'll never believe what happened. Like I was trying to play it off like it wasn't for me.
These aren't for me.
Oh, but I was like, we'll never get over this. And luckily he came back. He was like, hey, we're over this. And I was like, okay, cool. But
are
like,
you over it?
I'll never be over it.
You got to honor that.
But things like that can happen to where Bobby's like, all right, fuck Portland. And then someone's talking to him like, hey, how's Portland? He's like, I don't fuck with that place. And then when they come up here, they're like, oh, well, I heard about you. You the dude who don't like getting underwear for people. And so I think it's important to remember that reputation in a comedy club is the most important thing that you have.
I agree. And I think you personally, Nick, do a great job at, and all the other staff as well, but you are the person that we talk to when we do your club. Like when you emailed me to ask me to do this podcast, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Oh my God. I'm so excited to talk to Nick. And that's really important. People will always remember how you make them feel. And if you make them feel good, it's a no-brainer. You'll always remember that club and you'll always want to go back there.
And I think that is the whole cycle, that if you always want to come back here, then people always want to come in because we always got great comics. I think it's very easy to turn a great room into a horrible room. It's harder to turn a horrible room into a great room. It takes a long time.
Yeah, because it's like the energy of a comedy club depends on a lot of stuff. Because there's clubs in New York where there's rooms in New York. Some of them are clubs, some aren't. I talk to a lot of comics about this, and they feel the same. Where it's like, I never do well in this room, or I always kill in this room, and it's kind of like this mystical energy that the room has that has nothing to do with me. And I think with comedy clubs, it's important, like having most of the seats facing the stage. That's why that downtown Comedy Works in Denver with the like school desk seating, every single seat faces the stage. There's no that way there's no table chatter because you're not facing another person, and everyone's comfortable because their seats are naturally facing the stage. That is a little thing that goes such a long way.
I was watching this comedy special, a Rodney Dangerfield one, and they had the tables that go long ways and then people sitting like this looking at the stage. Drove me crazy.
Yeah, I hate that.
Nuts. And I think that's just how it used to be.
Yeah, I wonder though, like, because Helium Portland has those long tables, right?
No, we have like the little round tables.
The round. Oh,
yeah.
Round is great.
Right.
Can't go wrong with the round tables.
Well, and then you'll get people who complain that, how am I going to put all my food on this? And I want to be like, that's not the
eat less, bitch.
Yeah.
That's your problem.
There's 4 people here. If you need 18 plates, I don't know for you, but
that's the most American complaint.
And it's funny because I never want to turn away money. If someone wants to spend money here, God bless you.
Of course.
But I don't want it to be where now you have 18 food items and you're like eating them all and you're not paying attention to the show. It's a weird thing that what we do is sell alcohol and food, and what doesn't help comedy is alcohol and food necessarily.
I know. We had, when we first toured, we yelled at our audience after our first tour because we pretty much sold the whole thing out. But we're like, when you come to a comedy club, that is not a place to get wasted. That's not a place to do drugs. We had a girl, our first time when we sold out the main room at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, we were like, oh, fuck, we made it, girl. But there was a girl, it was a girl or a guy. I think it was a guy. The show had let out, and there was a guy face down in his table. The drinks must have spilled, and in his hand, it was like someone gave him Quaaludes, and he had a backpack, and I was like, is anybody going to call 911? Because that guy, he's not okay. And then the staff like ran over. They're like, oh shit, we didn't see it. Because I remember the Comedy Store staff, our audiences, a lot of them are young, hot, single women who are like cool and sexually explore. Like, so when if it's a mostly male staff, they're like, come back anytime you want. So they were a little distracted by that. And there was this dude ODing on X in the show. And I'm like, you guys. And so we yelled at our audience. We're like, you can't do drugs. This isn't a rave. We need you to listen. You cannot be inebriated on any substance at a comedy show.
You really can't. I mean, you can have 1 or 2 or 3 drinks if you can hold them, but I think the looser you get, the worse the show gets for you.
Yes, because then you think it's your show. And then you just, all the rhetorical questions are getting answered by some dude in the back. And you're like, that's not helpful.
Well, I think you did one of my favorite things when you're like, all right, everyone woo right now, and then we're done with it. Because I think people, just don't know that, I can't woo at a show. Oh, I can't do drugs at a show. Oh, I can't.
And you don't want people, you don't want to be like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. That's why Corinne and I were like, take pictures of us now, do the woos, go do the wooiest woo you got. And then that's it forever for the rest of the show. Okay. And then that's a funny way of us letting them get it out, but letting them know that we don't like that shit. If you want us to respect you, this is how you should behave.
All right. So we are going to run through all the heliums. Okay. Right. So give it a 7 if you think there's nothing ever that can change about this place. It's amazing. Give it a 1 if you think this place is garbage. And in fairness, there have been people that have given clubs 1s. So don't think it has not happened.
Okay.
All right. So we'll start with St. Louis.
Oh God. I mean, it's been a while. I was supposed to do that gig and it got moved back. Actually, I think Dan Soder took that weekend there because I was like, I don't know if I could travel. I wanted to do that gig because I love that club so much. I specifically requested to do that. My friend moved to St. Louis and the Helium is there and the City Museum, which is my favorite place in the whole world. The City Museum kind of trumps the memory that I have of the club. So I don't really, no offense. But I would say maybe a 5 or 6. I'd say 5.5.
That's really good. Buffalo.
7.
Full on. What makes it a 7?
The staff is a good vibe. The town is good. I mean, well, actually, we're only rating this on the actual club itself, right?
I mean, I think the town is a part of a club. Like if I have the greatest club on the moon, you can't go outside and breathe. You're like, oh, fuck that club.
Yeah. Because all the Heliums are in locations where I fucking love these cities. That one gets a 7. That one, I love the high ceilings in Buffalo. I love where the green room is because it's a little far away. So you're not right in the, like you can't hear the audience talk about you after you leave stage. The Helium in Philly, you definitely can. But I love, I like that the green room is far away in that one. And I love the tall ceilings. And it just, the mics are really crisp. I mean, all the Heliums have good sound because that's all you need. And they're good at turning checks there. They're really good at doing it as in a wave, not all at once. So no one really eats the checks.
Right. And then Good Nights in Raleigh.
Oh, that was the one I thought someone was going to shoot Corinne while she was on stage.
What?
Yeah, there was this guy that came because that green room is also not in the showroom. It's in the kind of the lobby. I love that club. It feels old and like dusty, but in a nice way, like in a I don't know, in a way that just makes memories come back that are good. But yeah, there was a guy that came by himself to our show. That was the first time we did that club. And I remember my mom was there with one of her best friends, and I was very excited. And I don't curse, like I don't usually curse in front of my mom. Like she's like, why did you name your podcast that? But she saw me, Corinne and I sell out the Wilbur Theater, which was 1,100 seats. So I was like, you can't say shit about anything I used. And she's like, you're absolutely right. I will not. So my mom was there, and there was this guy that stood up in the middle of Corinne's act because Corinne is very, to some who have low self-esteem or are sensitive, abrasive. So her act is very like, I don't fucking care what you think of me. And so this guy, she's really good at not doing this on purpose, but making men angry, like making like an incel the angriest. Like that's the girl you want to call to do that. And this man who was there by himself, he was like maybe in his 50s or 60s. I remember him being really tall. He stood up during one of Corinne's bits and just had his middle finger up and just stood there. And I heard the audience go, what's happening? What's happening? And I was like, wait, what's happening? And I ran out and I was like, what is that? And then he starts yelling at Corinne. And so they had to take him out. They had to like carry him out. No one came with him. He came by himself, which I love. We always encourage people to come by themselves. But if your person is going to do that, do you have a gun on you? Like, I don't know. I'm scared that you're going to kill me. So yeah, they kicked him out and he was like, I'll be back. And they were like, no, you won't. We're going to call the cops. So
that always makes me nervous. There was an epidemic where people were throwing glasses at stages. And we had that happen here for Dana Gould. And,
what? Dana Gould?
Well, he was talking bad about Trump or something, and a guy was
Jesus
3 rows
Christ.
deep, and he was right, getting upset. Okay, what I don't know, and he ended
Oh
up
my God.
heaving a glass. It's somewhere over there. But
Thank God it didn't hit him.
yeah, and then Caparulo, someone threw a glass at him, and so like when anyone's standing up in the showroom, I get very nervous.
Yes. Yeah. Because that's like a proclamation of what I don't know, because we don't know what this person's going to do. But it's like, if you're doing that, you're a little bonkers.
Yeah.
But the staff was great with that. They're like, he will never come back here again. We all have security cameras. We let him know. And we told the cops. And I was like, well, that's good. Okay. Ugh.
Oh, my bad. Did we get a rating?
Oh, we didn't get a rating for that. So I would say, I love that club. I would rate it a 6.
That's pretty good. 7 if that dude didn't stand up. Indianapolis.
I don't remember. I know we did that club because at first I think we did Crackers when we first went to Indianapolis,
like
and the second time.
End of a mall or something like that. I think I've never.
Oh yeah. Wait, that's not the one in the Mall of America. No, that's Minneapolis. I don't remember. I gotta say, I don't remember that one, but I'm sure it was lovely. The ones that I don't like, none of them are Helium, so I know that none of these Heliums are going to be below a 4. So I would say a 5, but that's mostly because I don't remember it.
Yeah. Philly.
Oh, 7. That's my club. I'm from Philly. Last time I headlined there at the beginning of last February, I got a Wawa tattoo in Philly because I'm Wawa ride till I die. And Philly audience, you cannot offend Philly trash. And I say trash in the best way. Just like they want you to be mean. And that's not in my nature, but like my Philly comes out when I'm there. And I fucking love that Philly Helium so much. I love that the green room is right. So at the right, if you're in the green room to the right, you can go on stage. The stage is tiny, which I really like. And there's the audience is like a wide net. The ceilings are really low. So you get every little expression. The sound is great. And then the left door is right out to that alleyway so I can smoke a cigarette. So it's like, for what I need, it's perfect. I just love it. Feels like you're back at your childhood home or something. I don't know. I love that club.
And then we'll run with Portland.
That's a 7.
Oh,
I love Portland so much. I love all the small businesses in Portland. I love Corinne and I, when we go on the road with each other, and then when I go on the road alone, I explore the city. I want to explore every little inch that I can. And Portland is just a really special place. It's a good vibe, and to me, it's not an obnoxious not like a Brooklyn-y, the obnoxious parts of Brooklyn. It doesn't reek of that, because I was like, is it going to be like obnoxious? Not at all. The people there are just really sweet and good, and the weed is great. Just everything about that club I love. And I like that the green room's a little farther away.
Right.
Right? Or no. Actually, no, the green room is connected to the stage. You come through that curtain, right?
Right.
That's right. But it's a big room.
Slope. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Bananas in New Jersey.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, that's probably the one that got the ones, huh? They're trying though. It's not for lack of trying. We got there and we were like, what the fuck? And then we had, those videos, we had the woman there who works there is such a sweetheart. I don't know if she's the same, if it's the same woman.
I think I'm gonna fuck her name up. Denise, I think.
Okay, yeah, that sounds familiar. We had our video, right? So we have our agent's assistant gives all the, we do the I forget what it's called because it's been so long. Where we say like these are our requirements. We'll need an extra mic, a video, all that stuff. And so when we got there, she was like, so the video. And she had brought out this like 25-year-old Dell laptop. And she was like, do you think we can get it on here? And I was like, oh man, I don't even think that's got a USB port, but we'll try. And then what ended up happening was she had the projector hooked up to the laptop. but it was like you were in like 8th grade science class. She had to move the projector to the back,
Oh,
and then, but like by the risers, the stage is risers,
yeah.
and then the sound wasn't working at the top of the video, so she took one of the microphones and held it up to this 25-year-old laptop, and I was like, that's. It was so funny, and then it kept cutting out. We're like, Denise, it's okay, it's okay. We're trying to tell her like, just forget the video, just cut the video, it's fine.
Oh,
And the green room is like a conference room in the hotel. It's a special place. I would not, I would say, my heart wants to give it all the points, but I would say that one's going to get more of a 4.
I mean, that's fine. She's so nice. I think
So sweet.
once you fuck up on somebody's shit though, you stop caring. Like, so I fucked up on somebody's stuff once, and then after that I was like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna try
It's
not
gonna
to
happen.
fuck up, but yeah, it's gonna happen.
It was so fun. That's why it was so funny, because she was trying her damn best. Like, she was doing everything she could in her power, and I appreciated that so much.
That's all you can do.
She gave a shit.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna run to the next segment, which is stories we've heard. So this is a story I've heard about you. I'm gonna read it and then ask you a question about
Okay.
it.
Uh-oh.
So Krystyna once tried to get a club employee on stage so the crowd could see him. She even had the crowd chanting his name. How important is structure to your club shows? And is it better for a show to be on the rails or off the rails in a comedy club for you?
In my opinion, I think, and thank you for being our, you didn't come on stage, by the way.
Oh, I hid underneath the sound booth, and then I changed my shirt, and people were like, "Are you Nick?" And I was like, "I don't know who this Nick is." I changed my shirt 3 times, I think. And then people would come up like, "No, you're Nick."
Everyone wanted to know. That made people want to know you more, or look at you, like see you more,
Yeah.
I
I
think
was like Prince for that night.
you were.
Like,
And people like DM'd us like, I think I saw Nick. Is this what he looked like? Is he really tall? I'm like, yeah, that was Nick. Like, oh my God, he's so hot. I love a mixture of chaos and order in a comedy show, because the order a lot of times will come with our stand-up. Like when because Corinne and I shows have these interactive segments, and then we each do a half hour. And that's where the order is, where we can just have the audience on the edge of their seat because we're telling a story that's very intimate and small. And then, but in order to, in our experience, to get the audience there, because a lot of times they're rowdy because they're happy to see us, which is great. We need to have this like wild and out fucking, let's prank call this bitch, this chick's ex-boyfriend who's a little bitch, and we're gonna fuck with them, and then and we're all in this together. So it creates that camaraderie. It's wild. You don't know what's gonna happen. The stakes are extremely high, and we don't know what's gonna happen either. So it's really fun for us. And so, yeah, that's how we love to orchestrate the show. We just come out, and then there's just these peaks and valleys, but you gotta get, and then we want to save the best, most outrageous bit for last, which is why we love doing I don't know if we did this in Helium, but we love doing sexting theater last, because some of these people have wild sex conversations.
Yeah.
And and then when it's a person, when it's a guy who gives us their phone, when it's a gay guy, they always have the best ones. And then, Addison Improv. That's that place in Dallas. Cause I'll never forget this guy who came up, gave us our phone, and the things that were written down. I was blushing. I didn't even want to read them. It was awesome. And so that bit is like, that ties it all together. So you end with a little bit of chaos, and then everyone's just like,
walk out the doors. I made it.
Yeah. It's a journey.
What's the worst city you've been to doing comedy?
Vancouver.
Yeah?
Yeah, because that was when I had the flu. We were touring. But the reason that I didn't like it, and this goes back to what you were saying with, if the staff at a comedy club doesn't have a good vibe, that's kind of going to taint your desire to go back there, even if it's a little tiny thing. This wasn't a tiny thing. And it had nothing to do with the staff. We did a theater. It was a one-nighter. I was peak flu. And we did this segment. We do a dating game. So we do the dating game. So we take couples on stage. They were tanked out of their goddamn minds, most of the audience. And it's a theater, sold out theater. I'm like, this is hell. And I was like running a fever. I'm like, I want to be here, but I feel like shit. And then if you're misbehaving, people always think that Corinne's the one that gets mad at the audience. And that is incorrect. It is me, because I do not tolerate that. Because it's like, shut the fuck up. It's just shut the fuck up. And so we did the couples game, and I take the girls outside and the guys go with Corinne for one of the rounds, and she asks them questions like, what's, if your girlfriend had to, had to fuck one of your friends, which friend would it be? Which friend would she say? Like, we ask these salacious questions like
Right,
that.
right.
And the dudes, usually the dudes are great. Men tend to be, in my experience, better sports at being a comedy audience. Like they laugh. They're not offended as much. Like, and that's obviously not all guys, but guys are just more fun to fuck with because you can take it. Sometimes women are a little sensitive in our experience. So these guys were wasted and they were like throwing the cards at Corinne. And I was like, we ended the show early. And we were
Damn.
like, we hate you, go away, bye. Like we were very upfront with how, but that show, I was so pissed because it was a theater. We sold out a theater. I was so proud of us. I was so excited. And most of the people in that audience were good, but it's the shitty ones that are the loudest and that remained in your memory.
Were they selling liquor at this theater? How did people get that?
Yeah, and I remember before the show started, they ran out of wine. They weren't selling liquor, they were selling wine and beer. And before the show started, they said, "Oh, all the wine sold out." And we're like, "Yeah, that's our crowd, baby." And that, and a girl threw up, I think, in the aisle before the show started, and we were like, "I don't like that. Don't like that one bit."
Do you get drunk or anything before you go on stage? Do you smoke or anything on stage? Or
Never. Oh my God. No. A lot of times when it's Corinne and I touring together, I'll have a drink. But something happens in my body where I only get drunk like a couple times a year and I don't like it, but I love drinking. So I can hold my liquor pretty well. And I usually do like a whiskey on the rocks. But when I'm performing, for some reason, I could drink 2 whiskey on the rocks during the duration of the show. And it's barely a buzz just because I'm so energized from the crowd and doing a stand-up show that it just provides a little bit of weed. I can't. And I'm a avid weed smoker. I smoke every evening. And I got a volcano vaporizer. Like I do it up.
Yeah, you do.
Diesel. So, but I will never go. I have to be present on stage because I can't read the room if I'm inebriated.
Right. And it's fun to watch when someone is too fucked up on stage.
I can imagine. Who's the drunk? I love going to clubs and asking like not who specifically, like a story of like a comic that got so fucked up they started throwing their glass at the audience.
I think I think it was Nick Kroll was up here. It was like my first weekend, and I worked a Saturday. And that Friday, Nick Kroll had gotten so fucked up on edibles that he like couldn't talk.
Oh no!
He was like gone on stage, and Did
they hit him while he was on stage?
I think he hit him before, and he was like, "Fuck, I still got to go up." And then we get complaints about Benson, which is so dumb. People will Yelp like, "Why would you let that guy get high? What is happening?" Like,
that's his thing.
Yeah, I know. It's funny to see people get upset about that, but he's been real fucked up before on stage. As far as drunk, I don't think we get too many. Oh no. Mo Jones, the guy I was talking about earlier, who was
yeah.
So it was the Sunday show. There was 12 people in the crowd. Like it was again a bad weekend. He drank so much that he went to put his drink on the stool when he came out and he dropped it, and it missed the stool. And then he's trying to like clean it up with his foot, and then we like ran up with a towel, and then he got another drink, and he like spilt that one a little bit, and and it was where everyone's sitting there like, oh, he's too drunk.
It's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable.
And then the rest of the show, he was in the back of the room with his head on his arm, laughing at stuff that wasn't jokes. So I think that was the most drunk I've ever seen a comic here. Wow, and I thought it was delightful. To me, it was hilarious.
I mean, it's I guess it depends on the person that's being wasted, because sometimes it is really funny, and then other times it's sad. And then if it gets sad, I'm like, I gotta look at something else. I gotta do something else.
I think if it was an act, I almost look at that as not a real weekend though.
Yeah, that's fair.
There was nobody here. It was weird, and just to have something that I can remember from that weekend. I mean, Earthquake was a dude, I got to meet him, but
yeah.
See someone that drunk on stage was full on delight.
Yeah. And I imagine too, like I guess it goes both ways though. Like if a comic is a dick, you guys can not have him back, or him or her. I guess women can be dicks too.
Yeah. So the problem with that is, All right, so I don't know if it was a comic. I don't know what I call her. Celeste Barber is an Instagram person.
Oh,
And
yes.
she was here. She sold out 2 shows, and she told me that I could take a shit on this stage if I want to, and they'll still have me back because I sell out.
Oh God. Wait, was
Which
she like, ha
she wasn't
ha?
saying it like in a mean way. She was just.
Oh,
I was talking to her about her. She was
she does
on a
draw.
tour bus, and
She
I
got a
was like,
tour
"What?"
bus?
Yeah, she had a tour bus. She
Wow.
was going
And
from
wait,
here
a
to
tour bus for comedy clubs?
yeah.
Huh.
Instagram money must be good for her. I don't know.
It is. It is. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
She's on Luminary with us. Because we moved Guys We Fucked over to Luminary, and
okay.
I heard of her because I was like, oh, I've heard her name before, and she just mimics these like hot girl photos, and she's like, is this it? I'm like, yeah, that's funny. She's not a stand up though, right?
She's not a stand-up, so most of her stuff was, hey, look at this picture that I took once. And then people were like, yeah.
Wow.
It was, she said she was gonna do an hour. She did 40 minutes, which
Huh.
is
Well,
fine.
I mean, there's only so much in that picture.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, it's fine if I know it. If you're like, I'm gonna do 40, like, okay, we can cover that. But the first show, we thought she was gonna do longer and she didn't.
Does she have an opener?
No.
Did she have somebody from the club come and
Ladies and gentlemen, Celeste Barber.
it was
And
40 minutes?
yeah, which for me was great. Like once we knew it and the show worked perfectly. But when you
Right.
think you have an hour and someone's night, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, because you got to know. Wow. And then the audience was happy?
Audience was thrilled. She
Oh,
did.
shit.
It was a good show. It was fun.
She's right then. She could take a shit on the stage and they'll have her back.
Straight up. So I say that to say, if let's say Dave Chappelle came in here and I was like, hey, Dave slapped me once and he like spit on my mom.
Well, Nick, you're going to have to find another club to work at.
Exactly. So there's some people where I can be like, hey, this person was rude. And they're like, okay, well, they don't really draw and they don't, they're not funny.
Money
But we
talks.
don't have
Yeah.
to bring it back. So there's always, I think, 3 things that you have to have. 2 out of 3 to work a club. You have to bring people in. You have to be funny. You have to be nice to the staff. If you only have 1 of them, you probably won't get in. If you have 2, you can get in.
Oh, can I ask you an insidery question that I like is like I would never have another opportunity to ask a staff member of a club.
Yeah.
Because I've always wondered this, and I guess I could ask other comics. Tipping out on the weekend, the comics tipping out. Like, how much is it? What's like the right amount
right
when you're a
number?
comedian? Yeah, like usually Corinne and I'll do it on the like at the end of the weekend. We'll ask the staff member like, are you going to be here all weekend? But I always wonder like, oh, I hope. Sometimes I'm like so worried that I'm cheap that I'll tip so much, and Corinne's like, Krystyna, you save your fucking money, Jesus Christ. I'm like, but they were so nice.
You ready to be bummed out?
Oh no.
If you tip anything, it's delightful. That's how few
What?
people tip. Yeah.
You don't tip the staff member that's assigned to the green room that's checking on you and giving you shit?
If you throw like 20, people will be like, oh, thanks so much.
Whoa,
I mean, who go way above that. But if you drop 20 at the end of the weekend, no one
just
will say
120.
It's I would say.
Okay.
I would say
we're good then.
People who tip, it's probably like 20 a night or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
But like there's not a lot of people tip.
What? Someone's got to send out a memo. That's fucked
Somebody
up.
got to.
It's like also it's a 2-way street. You appreciate the club, you show it. Like you just made a ton of money. Like
yeah, but I mean here it's weird because we'll have different servers every night because no one works a whole weekend, and then I think it gets weird because you don't know. All right, can you give it to this person, to that person?
Well, right, you just ask like, oh, are you going to be here tomorrow night? Like that, we always ask that because then the first time we realize, oh, it's not just every club does not do one staff member the whole weekend. So okay, so we got to make sure. Wow.
It's bleak.
That's lame.
But there are some people who don't make a lot of money.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. So, to be fair too, I didn't realize until we got to touring that when you stay in a hotel and you leave, you put like a couple bucks for the cleaning staff. I didn't know that. I never knew that was a thing because I never really traveled. And Corinne was like, "You don't do that." I'm like, "No, should I?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, fuck."
You gotta learn how to have money. I didn't learn until I was like 25 to tip. Well, here in Portland, they pump your gas, and so I'll throw a couple bucks. And
Oh,
I
you
didn't.
tip the people who pump the gas?
They're doing a service.
That's what I thought. And then in Jersey, they do that. And I'm like, well, you tip them. Like, come on, it's cold out. And then I looked up online. Like, I always manage to like look it up while I'm at the pump, like in Jersey. And it's always like 70% of people saying no. And then 30%, I'm like, well, shit.
I look at it like anything I'm not gonna do myself, I'll probably tip. Like so, if I
Yeah.
like a manicure or something, I tip on that. You're supposed to tip on tattoos.
Yeah.
Service.
Yeah.
You do takeout orders? Do you tip on those?
Yeah, I do. I give cash. Yeah. Especially now, because I'm like, oh God, the restaurant industry is hurting.
Hurting.
Mm-hmm.
In New York, well, I've heard it's worse in New York. Is that true? Like the
A
restaurants?
lot. There was I think it was a New York Times, I forget what or New York Magazine maybe, had their latest cover was cartoon drawings, sketch drawings of all of the restaurants that have closed that are like such like the heartbeat of the city. And it's really the New Yorker. Yeah, it's and the cover reads, it says "So long, friends," and there's all these establishments, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so sad. So there's a lot of funds, like my Donna, who I do the alleyway show with. We wrote a nativity play, but like a modern day, because I don't know anything about religion. So we wrote this play, and that we're going to do on Zoom. We're trying to raise money for the fund, a restaurant relief fund in New York, because that's the heart and soul. The small businesses are what makes New York.
I would say so.
Yeah. So it's sad, but it's hopefully at the end of this, hopefully Biden will make it so that people can have small business loans that's not a lot of interest, because paying a loan while you're not in business doesn't make any sense to keep your rent, to keep your venue. It's like, well, when are you going to get that money back? You weren't selling anything.
Right.
So you got to take a loan to take that. And then you got to triple your business in the first month you're back. It's like, man.
I don't think that'll, I mean, honestly, it might happen. So I had a flat tire and I had to go to the dealership to get it fixed. And the dude who sold me the car was like, hey, Nick. And I was like, oh, fuck. Not a guy you don't want to see. But so I'm having small talk with him. And I go, how's business? And he goes, oh, my God, it's so amazing. Everyone's coming in and getting cars. So I think in our industry, we noticed the hit. In a lot of industries, they don't.
A lot of industries are getting a bump.
Yeah, they're sitting on this money. And they're like, I can't wait to go out and spend it.
Yeah, it's wild because, some people, like when I do the podcast, I'm always aware of this. Like some people listening they're able to have their job at home, to do work at home, and to make the same amount that they were making. So they are not being touched by this. Some of my friends who are in the service industry, with the unemployment and the coronavirus, they're making more than they would have if they worked. And I'm like, that's so good. Let's give people more money. Like, let's just do it. Do a good thing. And so, but then others, they're just fucked. And you're like, I don't know what to do. So it's like, oh man, people are in such varying situations, as it always is, but it's just so heightened because it's weird to have an event that the entire world is just very well aware of every second of the day.
Yeah. I don't know if you're doing COVID jokes, but they go over very strangely.
Yeah, no, I'm not
people's minds.
Yeah, I do. I'm doing the bits that I've written during this are just like my reaction to quarantine. And what do you do? I feel like a kid with a bank account. I'm just like coloring. I'm a coloring book, smoking weed. Like, I don't know.
So we're going to end this with a game. It's called I Bet You Never. It's pretty much never have I ever. So we'll have 3 fingers up. I'm trying to get you to lower your fingers. You're trying to get me to lower mine.
Okay.
So the winner will have more fingers up.
Got it.
Do you want to go first or do you want me to?
So you go first and then I'll kind of get the game.
So I'm going to try to guess something that you have never had to deal with.
Okay.
But I probably have.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that you've never had more than 3 stalkers come to one show.
Me? That's sweet.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a stalker. That's Corinne gets all the stalkers.
Oh, you don't? Okay, cool. So then you got a finger down.
Okay.
Because I think there's been times when I've had like 4 or 5 come to one person show.
Wow, lucky them. They got a lot of admirers.
I don't know.
Somebody threatened to cut Corinne's head off with a machete. Like she had to get the NYPD terrorism, though they got themselves involved, in fact. Yeah. She gets a lot of stalkers. Me? Nah. Because I just want to be your friend. You like me? I don't even care why. So I bet something that I don't think you've had to deal with in life.
Or in the comedy club.
Oh, in a comedy club.
Right.
Oh, okay. someone, well, I wouldn't call this person a stalker, but it was very jarring. Somebody coming in the green room pretending to be a staff member so that they could take a picture with you. And then right before they press the button to take the photo, they slowly turn their head and go, I don't work here. And you think you're going to die. That happened to me in San Diego. Never forget.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm much more scared of women than I am of men.
Yeah, I had to put a lock on. I don't know if you were here for it. We have a lock on the door now, on the green room door.
That's good. Yeah.
Someone
Because
rushed it up. Yeah,
our agent had to get an security for us the second tour because drunk women, you can't get to, like, you can't tell them to do anything.
No.
They will break into our dressing room, and it is after the shows, it is alarming and uncomfortable.
I've only seen that thing. Someone broke into Mike Epps in the green room and like, they're trying to kick me out, Mike. And he's like, oh, let him stay. So
see, when we were doing Comedy Works, someone came into the dressing room when it was me, Chappelle, Corinne. We were all smoking. Well, Chappelle was smoking. And Chappelle was like, what are you doing? Like, he was so straight up with this guy. And he's like, sorry, I didn't know I was going. I'm a really big fan. He's like, you knew that this was the green room because it's a green room sign. If you respect me and you're a fan, you wouldn't do that. Get out. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh, that's how you do it. God damn.
Right. Yeah, I saw it. He put someone in their place here because we kicked him out during his show. And they're like, Chappelle, they kicked me out or something. And he goes, what'd you do? And they're like, I was just kind of talking. He's like, well, you a rude bitch. And
yeah, exactly. Oh, I love him. God, I love him.
Okay, I'm guessing that you have never, I'm trying to think. All right, I'm assuming that you have never had to throw out more than 20 people in a show?
Oh God, that many. No, we've thrown out like 3 people is the very most we've thrown out.
That's pretty good.
So I put a finger down or no?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Your finger down. The most we've ever had here, I think, is 46 of the record in one swoop.
What was happening?
It was like a party. The most individuals we've ever had to kick out was 22. This guy came to town. What was his name? Anyway, he gave all these free tickets away. So all these people came in and they were like, ah! And you're like, all right, you're out. Ah! All right, you're out. Ah! All right, you're
like whack-a-mole.
Oh, that was one of the last kickouts I had fun with though, because we had 6 people and one guy was giving me all this grief. And I was like, look, man, y'all just have to go. Then he dropped the N-word on me. And then I got to, it happens. It happens a lot. But then I got to look at all his friends. And
it happens a lot. Sorry, that's the white girl going, wait, people are still racist? That's terrible.
I mean, it didn't bother me because then I got to look at his friends like, are you guys going to, accept this behavior? And they're like, hell no, get out of here. So it got the whole party out. I love it because that's the easy word to be like, all right, well, we're done.
See you never.
Right.
For life. So I guess something you've not had. Well, okay, something that we've had to deal with. People putting their feet and or their dinner plates or drinks on the stage.
At your house? Where was this at?
Exactly. That's what we say. We'll go, oh, I'm sorry. Are we at your home? Are we at your house right now? I'm so sorry to interrupt your hangout in your living room. Oh, we yell at them. It's men put their feet on the stage.
Yeah.
And then men and women put their drinks and food. I'm like, they're dirty plates. I'm like, oh, am I in your kitchen? I'm so sorry. I didn't know I was doing my dream in your kitchen. Sorry.
Yeah, it would take everything for me not to kick that plate in their chest.
Yeah, it does. It's hard. It's hard.
Oh, shit. I got to try to get one more in. I'm guessing that you've never had to. Actually, I don't know if you've ever done this. Have you done 3 shows in one day?
Oh, at a club?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Got you. Those are some of the hardest shows of all time. I don't know how anyone does them.
I don't know. That sounds like, I mean, because people think, oh, you just got 2 shows in one night. What do you dilly-dally all day? Yeah, kind of. But like, that's so we can do good at the 2 shows. Like, I immerse myself in nature so I could be present for these 2 shows. 3. Whew. I've done 3 spots. I've done 5 spots, but shows, that's a lot.
And then people are forgetting, like, hey, did I do this one already on the late show? It's just.
Oh yeah. I get that with 2 shows in one night. I'm like, did I already do this show?
Oh, it's god awful.
Damn.
But this is not, you're for real. You're one of my favorite people. I'm glad I got to see you and talk to you.
Ditto, Nick. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that we could have this time and get some. I learned a lot today. I learned a lot.
Did you really?
Yeah, about what goes into a club's mindset. It's good to know how much they take it seriously. I mean, it makes sense, but like I don't really take the time to like specifically think about that, but it's nice.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how long I'll be in comedy clubs, but I think it's important to make it as good as I can, right?
Yes.
And so if how I've learned, if the manager cares, then usually people kind of fall in because the best clubs are places where people have. I think this kind of leads into the good environment. People have been around a long time, and not people just clocking in and clocking out to dip,
Right.
but like it's more than a job. I
They're
guess.
present. Yeah. Yeah. They're cultivating a vibe.
Yeah, that's the way. We're vibing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, dope. Thank you again so much, and
Thanks, Nick.
I don't know. Take care. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Hopefully
see
we'll
you
see
in
you
like
soon.
2021 or something.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to get up my agent. I'm going to ask him to get me right back on the road the second this is all over. So,
God, I can't wait. All right. Well,
yeah.
take care, and yeah, thank you.
Good to talk to you, Nick. Take